The AP has projected former President Donald Trump to win Michigan's electoral votes. The AP called the election for Trump early this morning. Now let's get to News 8 political reporter Rick Albin with more on how Trump reached the 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency. Rick.
Amber, when we came into this studio last night, you and I talked about this. I had no idea what was about to happen. One of the few times in 48 years of presidential politics that I didn't have some sense of where we were going, but it was so close. The polls were so tight, and it was just too much to know. So this is what the map looked like. These are the projections before we started counting the votes last night. And all of the yellow states were all of those battleground states that I'd talked to you about for weeks, and that those 7 states would make up the difference in this election. So what happened? We started to get our results in. Slowly but surely, we got the votes starting to populate. And then the first thing to drop was North Carolina. And that moved Trump to 235 electoral votes if you count some of these other states. And I'll tell you about that in just a minute, why these numbers don't exactly work out. It took some more time, and then another 16 delegates, that time, not delegates, I should say, 16 electoral votes from Georgia. So now Trump has won 2 of those battleground states, but he has to win one of the blue wall, Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania. If he wins one of those, he's probably well on the way to 270. Then very late, it was Pennsylvania that dropped first, and that too went for Trump. Now, under the scenario of the way this is set up, he would have had 270, but because Alaska, that was projected in our early voting looks, had not yet been called, he was at 266. So he still needed 4 more votes, 4 more electoral college votes. So we went on and on and on, and finally some of us decided this was going to be a while, and so we all went our separate ways, left staff here, kept an eye on it, and sometime early this morning, Wisconsin, of all places, which seemed the most unlikely to me that he would win, put him up at that point, it was at 276, again, because Alaska hadn't been called. And then late this afternoon, or I guess about midday, Michigan is called. So far, he has won 5 of the 7 battleground states. There are 2 yet to be called. Alaska has not been called, nor has Maine, but I expect them both to trend exactly the way that they were projected before the election. So that's how we got there. It was unpredictable, and it still is going to end up being one of these races that will be studied for years and years to see exactly how this happened. Amber?